welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and it is my honor and privilege to be with you all around the country and the world. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, you will find us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Today's broadcast inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's poppin'. You know it's Wednesday, and in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins, it is Dolphin time. So, with that being said, the Dolphin Dive will dive into the story of the upcoming season 2024-25 of Moyne Dolphins men's basketball. Head coach Nate Champion is here with me, and he'll be picture-in-picture in just a moment. Then we'll jump to the West Coast to come back to the East Coast, as we will speak with Offensive Quality Control Analyst of the Stanford Cardinal, Corey Edsall, who was a quarterback for the Syracuse Orange under Doug Marrone. He's coming back to Syracuse for a Friday Night Lights game this Friday, September 20th, when Stanford takes on Syracuse in their first ACC game ever. And of course, with it being Wednesday, hour number 2 will be dedicated to the fantasy football advice for week 3 of the NFL season inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. So with all of that being said, I am picture-in-picture with Mr. Champion here. Nate, how we doing?
Good, Dan. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely. And in our conversation off the air, I realized that I might have to have you for hour number 2 on Wednesdays for fantasy football, because you know a thing or two about a thing or two, and I didn't know. You and I have known each other for more than half a decade now, and I had no idea that you were rolling with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. Bear down, baby. I think the biggest thing for me is growing up in Indiana, you had to choose between the Colts and the Bears, and my family was a Bears family, so that's what I roll with. And yeah.
Yeah, going with the Chicago Bears. Not too shabby. They've had some moments early on this season, so we'll see how it goes. But speaking of the season, we have coming up here in the not too distant future the second season for the Moyne College Dolphins men's basketball program inside of NCAA Division I play, and that schedule has been released. You and I talked about it a long time ago, and I had to just kind of sit here and wait for piece by piece of it to come out, because there are some really, really exciting games, including the fact that Syracuse and Moyne are playing for a game that actually counts. It has happened in history. There has been moments where these games have counted in the regular season schedule, but what we saw in the recent last couple decades is that when Syracuse is playing Moyne, it is an exhibition game. This one is not. It's going to open the season for Syracuse and for you, and that game is going to be at the Dome. Just your thoughts about having a game that counts against two Division I teams here in Syracuse.
I think it's exciting. I mean, being able to play in a city where it's a basketball community. I mean, look at the history and the success that Syracuse has had as a basketball program, and how much support they get throughout the city of Syracuse and what we get as well. And I think it will bring some excitement to the basketball season, starting off with a little bit of a crosstown matchup. And really looking forward to playing in the Dome this year. And I know Coach Autry's got a really nice team over there, and I think they're going to have a lot of success this year. So I'm excited to see what we have and what we can do against them.
Living in a world where there's two Division I men's basketball teams that are located maybe 7 minutes or so from each other. I mean, the fact that we live in a city now where Moyne and Syracuse both NCAA Division I, just what that means to you. I mean, you're an alum of this program. You played here when it was Division II. To be in a world, and I think like it hasn't maybe even sat with people yet, and people have really taken that in, is looking at Lemoyne from Erie Boulevard, seeing Lemoyne up the road on Salt Springs, and then seeing the Dome over here, and then thinking to yourself, like, these are two D1 programs. These are two teams that, I mean, obviously Syracuse has had their success and won a national championship. Last season, in the first season in Division One, you helped guide a team that defeated Fairleigh Dickinson, FDU, and the Knights, that had members of the coaching staff and student athletes from the team that defeated the number one seed Purdue the year before. And you didn't just beat FDU, you took it to them, and you were very close to playing for an NEC championship in your first season in the conference. So, I mean, to me, when you really take a step back and say to yourself, there's two D1 teams now, and they're less than 10 minutes from each other, I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a unique experience. And it's great. I mean, it just creates excitement around the city. You're starting to see it. I know our guys felt it last year in that conference tournament game that we had here at home against FDU. And, the students really kind of took some pride in being a Lemoyne basketball fan. And, that was something that had definitely been ramping up throughout the year. And I knew it was going to be different that night when, you walk out onto the court before the game and
Yeah.
there's people that are, loud and rambunctious in the crowd. And there just was a different energy in that building that night. And I think, for us, when you play Syracuse and there's that excitement with Syracuse every single year, there's now started to be a little bit more of some excitement around campus and a little sense of pride, honestly, for the students when they come back and athletics is going. So I think it's a great way to get the community involved as well, having a game that means something. And if two quality products are put out on the floor that night, it'll be a good game.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's a great way to kick off the season. How was it done? How did you get it done? Is it a relationship with Coach Autry that you've had over time? How did this come to pass? Because sometimes it seemed like, well, and when we go back to that exhibition when Lemoyne defeated Syracuse in the Dome, it seemed like there was a long period of time of not seeing Lemoyne in the Dome there. So how does this all come to pass? Is it simply a phone call to Adrian, or what is it?
Well, I mean, Coach Autry and I talk here and there. I think it's just something that we both agreed upon that would be a great game to have in the community and something that can draw some excitement right away. I think sometimes for the bigger teams, there's those non-conference games that maybe, the everyday fan doesn't necessarily get as excited for as they would for Duke or Carolina coming to the Dome. But I think, when Lemoyne's thrown into the mix, there's an automatic kind of buzz that comes around. And for us, it was just speaking with them and agreeing upon just how good we think it will be for the community. And, Coach Autry is doing a great job over there at Syracuse. And, I think, geez, they lose to a Final Four team in the ACC tournament last year. And they won over 20 games. I think that's just about what's going to be coming down the line. I think he's going to have continued success. And as he grows into that head coaching role as well. So just the mutual respect that we have for each other and our ability to communicate with each other, I think is something that also helps me. Having somebody that's just across town, I can bounce some ideas off of him. And I think, just having the ability to play each other here is something that we are really excited about.
Yeah, here with Nate Champion speaking on the schedule release for 2024-25 and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Lemoyne College here in this edition of the Dolphin Dive, and starting that season off at Syracuse after the exhibition game against Mansfield. I want to get to a game that's right after the game at Syracuse, and that is that CSUN is coming over from the West Coast to the East Coast, giving back the favor here of you going to California last year. The first ever Division I victory for Moyne College as a D1 program was against CSUN. So a lot of history in that game last season, and now they're coming in to Ted Grant Court. Just what you can say about that. The first home game, a couple days after the game at Syracuse down the road, November 6th on a Wednesday, you're at home against CSUN, a team that you created history against.
I mean, I think it's exciting that our first home game this year is early on in the season. I mean, our first week of the season is all in Syracuse, and two of them being at Ted Grant Court, which is always exciting. And I think it's a way to generate that excitement right away
Yeah.
and a way for our team to showcase what we can do. CSUN's going to be a really quality opponent, and it was a tough game for us last year. Obviously, with us getting our first win, it's something that in that road trip that we were able to get a home and home with them, and we're excited to have them here. And I think it's going to be a big challenge for us that first week. With Syracuse turning around with another great opponent and CSUN, I think it's going to be two big tests for us right away.
Yeah, and then we see that not too far from there, exactly a week from the home game against CSUN, you will be on the road in Storrs, Connecticut on Wednesday, November 13th at UConn, a team that has, just won back-to-back national championships. Bring me into that. I've had the opportunity over the years to cover the UConn Huskies, and that has included covering them and Dan Hurley and their student athletes en route to back-to-back national championships. Just your take on that game, the opportunity for that game, and the fact that, the whole nation's watching UConn, going to be watching them all throughout this year. So even before you play the game itself, you're going to be in the spotlight because they've also been in the spotlight.
Yeah, I think it's something, again, we want to go up against the best opponents. I mean, our goal with our non-conference schedule is to be as prepared as possible when conference play comes around, and playing a national championship just shows you how prepared or unprepared you are. What Coach Hurley does is fantastic. I mean, his team's obviously winning back-to-back national championships. They are a well-oiled machine over there, and the storied history of UConn, I think, is something that is it gives me a lot of kind of the Georgetown and Villanova feelings, where we're on the road at a Big East school, and not only a Big East school but a back-to-back national champion. And I think that's going to be a great test for us. And again, I know it'll be a quality opponent, and it'll be a tough task for us, but I think we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I think it's incredible to see these games early on in the season and the testing of your team early on. Right after that Saturday, you're going to St. Bonaventure, and former athletics director of Moyne that helped guide Moyne to Division I from Division II, Bob Beretta, I am more than sure will be in the stands. So your thoughts on going and seeing an old friend on the road in a unique scenario. He was sitting right behind your bench for the last 3 years, and now you'll be at St. Bonnie's, and he'll be there as well.
Yeah, really exciting game. With more of a storied history between Lemoyne and St. Bonaventures, and I think it's a great way for us to start kind of playing them, and hopefully it becomes a common thing for us. Obviously, Bob being there now, I can't thank him enough for the past few years and what he's done to help me grow as a coach and as a person. He knows this, and we talk pretty frequently, but I think Bob's in a great place. Obviously, being the athletic director of your alma mater is always a special thing. So it's an opportunity that he couldn't pass up, and I wish him nothing but the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in November.
Yeah, and then after that, you and I had talked about this a while back off the air, the fact that you're heading off to Texas, and at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, this little mini tournament, UT Martin and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Then while you're in the state of Texas, you're going to go from Corpus Christi to Edinburgh, Texas, to face off against the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. And last year we saw you play a bunch of games in California. This year we've seen this kind of mini tournament migrate to Texas. Just what you could say about the opportunity to last year go from the West Coast. Now we're going to see you in the Midwest in the great state of Texas to have 3 games before you head over to Manhattan.
Again, another fantastic opportunity for our program to, you know, share the quality education and values and what we stand for here at Moyne, all across the United States. And the opportunity to go to Texas is something that's bigger than just playing basketball for us. Obviously, having the ability to be down there for 5 days is something that is going to, not only help with our recruiting in that area, but also getting our name out there. And hopefully we can attract some students to take an interest in Moyne. And then obviously playing 3 quality opponents. I mean, UT Martin just got a new coaching staff. Had a lot of success last year. That coaching staff went to Mercer, and the new coaching staff at UT Martin is a quality one coming from the JUCO ranks. So they're going to be ready to go. They're going to have a lot of talented players, and we got to be ready to play at a high level when we get down there. And then obviously Corpus Christi, the past couple of years have been a really tough opponent, making it to the NCAA tournament, and then also having a lot of success in their conference play. So for me, again, it goes into the scheduling and how we want to be prepared, and how we want to get most prepared through the non-conference schedule. An opportunity to take our team away from Syracuse, I think, is always a great opportunity as well. So, I can't express how, grateful we are to the Moyne, administration and the president to allow us to take these trips. But I think in the end, it really comes back to ultimately trying to help grow what we're doing here at Moyne and spread what we're doing here across the United States.
Yeah, and like you said, and you brought up a huge thing, is it's not just taking this trip, right? I mean, because it's going to be great for the kids. It's a great opportunity to bond. You're going to be, on planes together and driving around together and whatnot. So it gives you an opportunity to be together and to learn each other and be around each other. But at the same time, like you said, yeah, we're playing a game on the court, but I'm recruiting. You always have that mentality of what can I do here recruiting wise? What can I do to build an inroad? And for the years that I've known you, you say little things in conversations where I'm thinking to myself, he's always just kind of keeping that beat to the ground. Always kind of just saying to yourself, okay, I'm here to do this. I'm going home to see family. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. But I'm going to check this out. I'm going to go to this tournament. I'm going to see what's going on here. And I think that that's huge, Nate, because I think any coach that has any type of intelligence in the game, any game, is that, yeah, it's great to recruit your community, and it's important to recruit your community and take care of your community, but to be willing to go anywhere, to be willing to make those inroads in different countries, all over this country, that to me is when you truly become successful, when you say, if I'm looking for the right people, I'm willing to look anywhere. And I feel like you've had that mentality for a long time. And the first thing that came out of your mouth just now was, yeah, we're going down to Texas. It's going to be great for us in recruiting. And I think that that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's just like what you said, recruiting the right people. Now that we've been here for 6 years. So that went by quickly. But, I think when you develop your program, you identify players that can be successful with you and help accomplish the goals that you have, not only to grow the men's basketball program, but to shed light on how special this athletics department is and how special Moyne College is as a whole and what we do. And I think when you know that and you have that idea of what we're looking for, now you can find that anywhere. And the nice thing about being Division I is there have been more connections. I mean, look at our team now. We have 3 international players. We got a player in Robbie Carmody, who's former Gatorade, Player of the Year in Pennsylvania, and then an ESPN Top 100 player. And I think there's just the type of kids that we're bringing in are guys that fit Moyne off the court, and then also fit what we do on the court. And I think that's special in having success.
Yeah, and before we jump into a couple more games here with you, Nate, the model of what you're looking for when you talk about like we know what we want, we now know that kid that we're looking for on and off the court. What what character pieces are you looking for? What kind of, I mean, obviously from season to season, you need a big, or you need to go find another guard. I mean, those things are known because you have to kind of use that patchwork with each team each season. But as far as the overall, this is the model of a Lemoyne student athlete that we're looking for. What is that model?
I think one of the biggest things that I think of, and the first thing that comes to my mind is when I'm, excuse me, when I'm, you know, watching a player or find out about a player, the Jesuit word magis, which is like striving for more, always, that restless discontent for mediocrity. Like you can't, whatever you're doing, you're trying to push yourself to get better. You're trying to hold yourself to that higher standard. It's one of the things we look at, and it's evident when you look at a player, when he comes out of the game, what does he do?
Yeah.
When he's in practice and you're watching practice, does he take a drill off? Does he take, reps off? Or is he continuously working? Is he continuously, pushing his teammates to get better? That's somebody that wants to grow, somebody that wants to continue to succeed on and off the court. And it's something that we really have tried to identify in recruiting. And then, I think the talent level obviously has to be there to match what we want. Whether it's a forward, a guard, whatever that is, we have specific things that we look for. And then how they do in the community, how they do when you ask the, admissions counselor, hey, how's so and so? Are they good in the classroom? Do they have any behavioral issues? What are some things that I need to look out for? And you have to dig a little bit. You can't just take everybody that says, oh, this kid's so awesome. Like he's the best thing that's ever happened. Okay, well, everybody has some flaws. What are they? And if they are big red flags, then we got to figure out, is it worth, going after that player, or, or is it something that the red flag isn't really that red, and we can always work with that. So there's always the highs and lows, and you just have to figure out more on what the lows are, because I think those kind of give you the ground that they're going to start at, and then the willingness to work and get better. And I think that's one thing that we look for in the recruiting aspect.
Well, I think it's huge here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Speaking with Nate Champion this morning of the Lemoyne College men's basketball team, their head coach. The I mean, you just said it, and I feel like there's coaches that don't get credit for that, Nate. I'm not just going to take anybody mentality, right? Because there's that feeling that now, especially in the world of NIL and the transfer portal, that schools will essentially throw morals and values to the wind to just win, to just let go of everything that they stand for to simply win a championship. And you just said the opposite. You said, "Hey, let's when we look at these red flags, everybody's got highs and everybody's got lows, and let's dig a little bit deeper into the lows and understand, are these lows too low in the sense of, is this person have too much going on that's troubling and concerning to take that person on, or are these red flags not as red?" is what you just said. So when you are out there recruiting, it sounds like you're still looking for character. It sounds like you're still looking for kids that want to be educated. It sounds like you're still looking for people that are positive, people that are willing to work through the adversity. And I want to stay on that note for a second, because I don't think that we necessarily always hear that. And I think we definitely don't hear that when you hear all the buzz around the media. It's always about this guy does this and this guy does that and that guy can jump out of the gym. But we're not hearing the coach that says, I'm not going to take somebody at all costs. I'm going to take somebody that makes sense for what I'm trying to do. So I want to credit you for that, and credit you for the fact that you do not want to bring a problem on simply to win. And I wanted to really bang that note home that you just made, because we don't hear it enough.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
I just think,
yeah, go ahead.
I think for me, Dan, like you can win with good character kids, and I think when those characters all mesh together, and you have people that really want to work towards a common goal. And when that happens, you know, what can be accomplished is really endless. So, for us, I mean, yeah, we have standards and talent level and, what we expect out of them on the court, but there's a lot more that goes into it than just can they play ball.
Two final notes here. One of them being the fact of after you go down to Texas, we're going to see you head off to Manhattan. Then you come home. So you said it's great to have a home game within the first couple games, and in the first week, you don't leave the city of Syracuse, which is a beautiful thing, and definitely a change from last season in putting the schedule together and having to do things a little bit quicker. Now you've had some time with it. When you do come home, you got Army West Point in the state of New York, and so that they're coming from West Point to Ted Grant Court, and then you have Binghamton, who's coming up an hour from the south to Ted Grant Court as well. Just what you can say about that. Army on December 3rd on a Tuesday, and then Binghamton on December 7th on a Saturday. Two big games, two awesome opportunities, and great to see the return of the favor in these home and homes.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously last year when, you're the new kid on the block, well, we want to play you, but we want to play you here. So,
Yeah.
that's fine. And I think you saw that across the board with schedules. And, now with the return games coming, I mean, it's an awesome opportunity. I mean, there's going to be a lot of buzz for, Army West Point coming into Syracuse and playing at Moyne. I mean, it's a, world known college. It's the That's the academy. They're coming here, they're playing. You know, we have people that have been, to West Point and have graduated from West Point that are in our community now. And I think just the pride that goes into that, and having a team like that here on campus is going to be fantastic. And then obviously Binghamton coming up, from last year's game, I think that drew a lot of attention last year. We had a great crowd for that. We intend to do the same this year. And it's been something that has been a fun, um, kind of yearly game, and hopefully we can turn that into a rivalry. But we haven't won against them yet, so it's kind of hard to call it a rivalry when you haven't won and it's only your second time. So hopefully we can develop that game into a yearly thing. And again, two quality opponents that um, we got to play last year on the road and get to have them at our place this year. So hopefully we'll be ready to go for those.
Yeah, and the battle for Interstate 81, the dome was. I mean, the experience down there at the event center at Binghamton was rocking. I mean, I
That
was
was.
there. It was, and that was an awesome game. And that game went back and forth, and Lemoyne gave them every. I mean, that to me as a sign of the debut of what's to come with Lemoyne College against a team in Binghamton University that's been Division One for so many years. Like that game itself, for everybody that was in the arena down in Binghamton, y'all know what it felt like. And you got guys like Symir Torrance and Luke Sutherland that grew up together playing against each other. Like, there was so much in that game, Nate, that I know you said, hey, it's early on and Lemoyne hasn't won one yet and it just started and this is the second game. But if the first game was any sign of the amped up energy, I think that that's going to absolutely be a rivalry for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it's something that, as we continue forward, there's going to be games that come up, you know, each year that are going to be, circled on the schedule. And that's definitely one of them. So we're excited about that one.
And you talk about values, University of Notre Dame, South Bend, that game on December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas against a team inside of the ACC. All of this happens before NEC play, and you and I, in the coming weeks, if you'd like to come back on here, as we've had you here for many years, would love to, actually the whole time you've been at Lemoyne, would love to talk with you about the NEC schedule as well. But as time kind of flew by this morning, I want to make sure we get to that South Bend game in Notre Dame. The fact that in a season you're playing UConn, you're playing Syracuse, you're going to be playing Notre Dame, going down to Texas, all these things we've talked about, Army, the battle for Interstate 81 with Binghamton. Right before we're starting NEC play, we're going to see you head to South Bend right before Christmas. And I'd love to get your thoughts on why you thought that was another game that was going to be good to test this team right before we hop into the NEC.
For us, I mean, what better way to do that than go against another national brand? I mean, Lemoyne in the 2 years is going to have played, you know, Georgetown, Villanova, Penn State, Syracuse, UConn, and Notre Dame. I mean, I don't know if we can get on a bigger stage. So, for us, again, it's another great opportunity to showcase what we're about at Lemoyne, and it's a great opportunity to play against another high quality opponent. I mean, Coach Shrewsbury did a great job with his team last year, which was a brand new team.
Yeah.
I thought he made the most of it. And you could see that towards the end of the year. They were highly competitive in the ACC, and I think they're only going to improve. And again, just knowing Coach Shrews, he does a great job there at Notre Dame. So, I think he's going to have that program up and going, just like Coach Bray did a few years ago. And, it's a great opportunity for us to go and experience, one of the best known colleges and universities in the country. And, luckily for me, it's only an hour and some change away from my house, so I've had some experience there. But um, I think it's a great way for us to get some people home as well. I mean, we have AJ Dantzler on our team who is from Indianapolis, Indiana, which is a couple of hours away from South Bend, and then Jacob Blakely, who's a freshman from Chicago. So those guys will have opportunities to play closer to home with some family members in the crowd, and it's a great opportunity for us to go and again showcase what we can do on the court as well.
And it allows a really hard-working guy that's picture-in-picture with me right now to get to see some family back in Indiana around Christmas time, so that doesn't hurt either.
It does that. Yeah, I've been asked about some tickets quite a bit, so I don't know if I'll have enough for everybody that's asked, but do my best to make it work.
Hey, listen, the Champion Caravan. I want to see those buses show up. So with that being said, Nate Champion here, the Lemoyne Dolphins men's basketball head coach, heading into the year 2 in Division 1 and a fantastic schedule that is on pace to be something really incredible and make some awesome memories as this team did last year. And don't get it twisted, folks. Yeah, these games are great to play and these national brands are fantastic, but the season they had last year was absolutely a season to remember, and there was a lot of positives to build upon. So we look forward to seeing you at Ted Grant Court. We also look forward to seeing you on the road, and if you are looking for tickets to Notre Dame, then I guess Nate can send you his email. So with that being said, thank you, Nate, as always, man. And you know that from day zero, I appreciate the work that you're doing, and it's incredible, and behind the scenes and just everything that you've really put into this program, your blood, sweat, and tears doesn't go unnoticed here from me. So as always, I don't think it's enough to say, but I'm going to say thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate the support. It's been great.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Coming from Nate Champion once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we're going to go from right here in Syracuse, New York to the West Coast as we get set to bring on Mr. Corey Edsall, who's going to be joining us here on the broadcast. Very excited to have Corey here on the show, and another connection to Central and Upstate New York. So talking to a coach that is right here in Syracuse, New York, with Lemoyne College as their men's basketball head coach, to somebody that was over at Syracuse University and was a quarterback for the Syracuse Orange under Doug Marrone, and has since gone off to a bunch of different pieces of his journey that led him to Stanford. We had a story about that and the journey that Corey Edsall had taken over the years, and now we have found him over in Stanford. It's not the first time that we've spoken with each other. It's very early over there, and I appreciate his patience this morning as we were speaking with Nate Champion about the schedule for the upcoming Lemoyne Dolphins men's basketball season. So with that being said, it is my honor and my privilege to bring in Mr. Corey Edsall, picture-in-picture from the West Coast. Corey, I asked you to get up early, and I apologize for making you wait.
No, all good. Happy to be here.
So happy to have you here on the broadcast. Happy to be with you. I mean, this is a unique game. It's a fun game because the thing is that on paper, this is Stanford's first ever game in the ACC as an ACC team. This will go down in history. The Block S and the Block Orange S and the block Red S, as Fran Brown, the head coach of Syracuse, called it, the Battle of the Block S. So we know that this is going to make history as the first ever ACC game for Stanford, but it's also a little bit of homecoming for you as you played quarterback under Doug Marrone at Syracuse inside of that dome. So what are your thoughts on the fact that history for Stanford is also personal for Corey Edsall?
That's pretty cool. Always being a part of something that's different, something that's new, is really cool. But we treat every game kind of the same, even though this is the first ACC game in Stanford history. We're just treating it as the next game because that's the most important one. And for me, it's really cool. You never know when you're going to have the opportunities to come back, if you ever get them to come back and coach somewhere that you played and everything like that. And I've been back twice since I played, once at Maryland in 2014 and once at UConn in 2018. Not thinking when I came out to Stanford, I'd have the opportunity to come back and be at a conference game at that. So it's pretty cool.
And when you came back to Syracuse after your time at Syracuse as a student athlete, when you came back in connection with Maryland and the Terps, and then came back with UConn and the Huskies, bring me into those moments. Were they surreal for you? How did you experience them? Just what it was like to come back and to see that, because those are Northeast schools. It makes more sense that we would see that. I mean, you alluded to the fact that going out to the West Coast, you didn't think that you would maybe ever be in Syracuse again, let alone for a conference game. But with Maryland and with UConn, just what those experiences were like, as those were the last two before this one.
Yeah, the Maryland experience was definitely the most unique because a lot of the guys that I came in with at Syracuse were still playing. So it was definitely a very different experience for me, seeing those guys after the game and everything like that. And then coming back when I was at UConn in 2018, all those guys had moved on. I really hadn't. There wasn't really anyone in the program that I really still knew that was there under Coach Babers, outside of Coach Hicks and Jimmy in the equipment room. So, yeah, I mean, both of them were very unique, and it's going to be even cooler for this one because I never thought I'd probably get back into the Carrier Dome coaching in a game. So this is pretty cool for me.
Yeah, and like you said, when you came back, there were still guys there that you had played with originally when you were coming back with Maryland. So that gives you an experience that Justin Lamson is going to have. The fact that he was at Syracuse a couple of years ago as a backup quarterback, had hopes that he was going to get himself on the field, maybe earn the right to be the starter, went down with an injury that took him out for the year. And so, I mean, have you spoken with him about this, about the fact of like, hey man, like I've literally been there. I played quarterback there. You played quarterback there. I practiced there. You practiced there. I was in the dome there. You were in the dome there. I went back and saw people I played with. You're going to go back and see people you played with. I mean, this story of Justin Lamson, in my opinion, is very attached to your story as well. Have you talked with him about it?
Yeah, we have. We talk about it all the time. Last year, when he first got here, we talked about both our times at Syracuse, coming out here, and obviously he's from out here, so it's a little bit different in that sense. Yeah. But yeah, no, we've talked about it this week, and we're both looking forward to going back there and being back in the dome. He played in the dome when it was renovated. I haven't seen it since it's been renovated and all the bells and whistles it's got now. So I'm excited from that standpoint. But yeah, I mean, once the game kicks off, it's the game. So. But yeah, we've talked about going back, and I'm excited. I know he's excited to get back there and see people and be back in the dome.
Let me throw this at you, Corey, because you'll appreciate this. Like you said, you haven't seen the renovations yet. I got to see him in I said the dome is only open twice. It opened in December of 2020 and opened December of 1980 and September of 2020. I was in the second opening of the dome. There was no fans. It was teams, staff, and media, and there was 20 to 30 of us, and I thank God, and Thanks to Syracuse University for being one of the few people that was allowed into the dome when the dome was closed to the public. So I got to experience the lights, and I got to experience the video boards and the sound and the changes that have been made. Now there's seats there. People aren't just sitting on metal that makes your butt fall asleep and makes you really super uncomfortable. But here's the crazy thing. When it was called the Carrier Dome, there was no air conditioning. Now there's air conditioning. Right. Now it's called the JMA Wireless Dome, and the internet still sucks. So I feel like I'm going to paint that picture for you and let you appreciate that. Whatever the dome is called, that thing doesn't work. And that hasn't changed for you, Corey, so you can have some fun with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss like the air docks walking into the dome where you had to have certain doors open, certain doors shut. But no, I mean it looks like they did an unbelievable job, and it's always been a home field advantage there. And it's interesting you say that because I did see this week that Friday is going to be 44 years to the day that the dome opened for football, and it was pretty cool because my dad was obviously on the coaching staff back in 1980, and he's going to be at the game obviously on Friday night, so it's going to be kind of cool. 44 years apart, I'm coaching in a game that he was coaching in when the place first opened 44 years ago.
And you said that Dad's going to be there. So
yeah, he is.
Randy's coming out to the game. How did you get him to stop golfing down in Florida to come out to this game?
Well, he's actually going to be golfing in Rochester this weekend, so we just had to tie a golf trip in there somehow. But yeah, no, he's going to, because I have my mom's side of the family all lives in Rochester, so and obviously my mom went to Syracuse and played there, so it's going to be kind of a little bit of a homecoming for them coming back and seeing some old friends and then going to the game Friday night. Obviously, they're going to be rooting for Stanford this time around, but this will be the only game that they don't root for Syracuse.
Yeah, no, it's special. I mean, it's funny how it's all too poetic. Sports is all too poetic, and so I mean, you and I have talked about your story. We've talked about your journey in the past, and you've been so generous with your time as well as your father, Randy, who I've had so much fun with. I'll never forget that the first time that I got to speak with your dad before, I mean, outside. I mean, we had spoken so many times, interview-wise. But when I got to actually talk to him man to man and like tell him how much I appreciate him and try to build that personal relationship, I will never forget. We were in Newport, Rhode Island. We were at the clam bake thing that they used to do out there with the lobster tails and the clam and all that stuff. And this will stay with me forever. I walked up to your dad, Randy Edsall, and he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And I will never forget that Hawaiian shirt. And I was like, hey, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to let you know, Coach, that, you know, I've really appreciated you from afar and appreciate the work that he's done. And him and I have built a friendship since then. But he is so awesome. And I'm trying to get him back into coaching, but he likes being retired. So
no chance of that.
Have you tried to like say, like, listen, Dad, like you're good at this thing. So
no, there is zero chance of that. He loves playing golf too much now, and him and my mom have their own routine going and they travel a lot. So, and he's really happy. So there is zero chance of that happening. And I'm just glad that they're enjoying this chapter and with all the hard work that he's put in and everything like that. And the sacrifices they both made to enjoy it now is really cool to see.
Well, he's smart because he saw the change coming over the horizon and he went, yeah, don't need to frustrate myself with that. So
exactly.
You're in this world, you're paving your own way, you're making your own story, and as much as we talk about the Edsall name, you're building your own, and I respect that, and I want to respect that very much so because I know you're working your tail off. Offensive Quality Control Analyst, what does that mean? What is you know, you and I have talked a little bit about it, but at Stanford, head coach Troy Taylor, he looks to Corey Edsall to do what?
Yeah, so obviously things kind of changed this offseason with us being allowed to coach on the field now. Previously, we weren't allowed to per NCAA rules. So before it was kind of more of a doing all the stuff in terms of film breakdown, scout cards, kind of the organizational stuff because we weren't allowed to coach on the field. Now we're allowed to, so it's kind of the same stuff we had been doing, but I'm assisting with the tight ends with our tight end coach Nate Byam, who does a phenomenal job. And so I'm in that room, I'm in the meetings, I'm out on the field with them. And so now we're able to coach. So there's no restrictions. So we're essentially like assistant coaches in terms of like being able to do everything like that. And then on game day, kind of the same thing, being able to help relay information. And a lot of that's changed now since we have tablets and
Yeah.
everyone can be on the headset. So this year has been the first year where everything's been wide open. So it's been a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, and how have you adjusted to that? I mean, I can imagine that you're grateful the fact that you have the
For sure.
opportunity to now coach on the field and be a part of that, and like you said, working specifically in the tight end room. So this change that has been made that allows you to be there on game day on the field coaching, just what that's done to allow you to be more of yourself, to be more of a teacher. How has that been a positive for you?
Yeah, because when you're a position coach previously at another school, you that's what you do this for. You want to have your own room, you want to coach on the field and impact guys that way. So taking a step back the last 2 years, previously not being able to really do as much, was a good learning experience because you kind of do more observing and you learn more that way in that sense. But this year has given me the opportunity to get back out there, kind of get that scratch that itch, coach on the field. I can help, I can do different things. So um, it's been a lot more fun.
No, that opportunity is something that, like we talked about, is a blessing here. And you and I spoke after I got to talk with head coach Troy Taylor for the first time ever. My ACC coverage spanning the country and getting to speak with him and have him be a part of my ACC previews, which I thank Stanford for. And the staff's been great. People have been great in getting information to me. There's a ton of things coming out. I mean, you're my first Stanford conversation that's airing this week in game week. And then tomorrow we have an onslaught of conversations that are going to be coming out to people. So, Troy Taylor, you and I talked off the air. It was one of the greatest text messages. And to you, it might just be a simple thing. But to me, 20 years of doing this, almost 21 years, when you get a nice compliment, I try to sit with it for a second and I try to hold on to it instead of just because I'm used to I kind of live in the world of a coach is like I do something and I'm like, okay, that worked, or I got to adjust that. And then I go on to the next thing and then I go on to the next thing and you keep going. But you sent me a message and you were like, hey, just want to let you know that Troy really enjoyed himself on the show. And I was like, what? I was like, he said something to you? He was like, yeah, he came out to practice, said he had a really good time. That message, I want to let you know, meant the world to me because I'm always trying to build relationships, as you know. I'm not just trying to
Mhm.
interview people. And as people have said to me, your interviews are not interviews because interviews are like question, 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 bounce, 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 like interrogate, where you're more of a conversational guy. And it sounds like you're just having fun sitting on a couch with someone. So I want to tell you first and foremost, thank you for that message because it caused me to pause and to be grateful. So thank you for that. Secondly, to that, who is Troy Taylor day in and day out? Because I had a good time speaking with him. I really enjoyed the fact that I feel like he is coaching right now strictly because he loves it. Like the money, the prestige, the power, like all that. He sounded like he's like, if I'm coach, it sounded like he could be coaching Pee Wee, high school, college, or pro. And he's like, dude, I love being here. I love doing this. I love being with the kids. And until I'm done, I'm not done. Like, I'm going to try and make an impact. So, my first impression of Troy Taylor is he just downright loves the game and he loves the opportunity that he's been given and the opportunities before Stanford. I'd love to get your take on him because you're with him every day.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. He's first and foremost a great guy, a great father, and a great guy to work for. He allows us to have a life outside of football, which is nice. Not There's a lot in this day and age in college football. You're working 24/7. You don't have much time to breathe. And the thing I'm most grateful for from him is we get that opportunity to breathe every once in a while and get to experience just time off when we have it. But he's a football guy first and foremost, and he's obviously a brilliant offensive mind. But Um, he loves the football part of it, game planning and all that kind of stuff. Um, but he's very organized. He runs a great program, and he doesn't lower expectations. He's always pushing everyone, coaches, players, to be the very best versions of themselves. And I'm very lucky to work for a guy like that.
Yeah, he just seems like a wholesome guy. You know,
He
he,
is.
he he seems like he's just one of those people that like hasn't lost himself in the game. And to see a coach who's coached as many years as he has, what does that do to you, and how does that impact you, Corey, to be around someone who hasn't lost who they are?
I mean, it's really good to see, and I've been fortunate my whole career, whether it was working for my father or guys like Mike McIntyre, and then obviously Coach Taylor now. They share that same characteristic. They're the same person every day, and the stage or the job hasn't really changed who they are or how they operate. Um, so just seeing that day in and day out makes me want to do the same thing as I keep growing in this industry.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, before I let you go, because I know you got to get hopping here, Corey, I do want to get into, like you said, you're working specifically with the tight ends, doing things with them on game day. What can you say about two pieces here? The quarterback room with Ashton Daniels, because my conversation with him is going to be coming up tomorrow, and I implore people to come back to Wake Up Call worldwide, including in the state of California, and listen to it because he seems like a fantastic kid. So you got Ashton, you got a bunch of guys that are there in the quarterback room. They're throwing to the tight ends, obviously. So what can you say about Ashton as your starter, and then the tight ends that you get to specifically be in the room with? What can you say about the aspect that they bring to the offense at Stanford?
Yeah, so starting with Ash, Ash is first. He's an unbelievable kid, as I'm sure you found out when you interviewed him. He's a great person first and foremost, but he's really a guy that throws the ball really well and can really hurt you with his feet. He's a true dual threat guy.
Yeah.
So he really puts the puts pressure on defense, having to be able to stop both. He's really good at creating things when they're not there, or if things break down, getting out using his legs, and obviously he's got a really strong arm and good accuracy. So from that standpoint, he's a total package. And then obviously you got Justin who comes in and does a good job for us as well. Um, but and the other thing Ash does really well is, as well as Justin, they lead the offense really well, and the guys look up to them and play hard for them. And then in the tight end room, Sam Roush, who's been here for 3 years and played a lot as a true freshman, played a lot last year, started half the year. He is what you're looking for at a tight end in terms of his size, his athleticism. But he's a really good blocker. He's good in the pass game. He caught a touchdown this past game, got his first one finally. But he's a total package. And then Benji Blackburn, a true freshman who's been super impressive from that standpoint. He's he's been for a true freshman to do what he's doing and learning everything. Again, he's going to be one of those guys. As long as the more time he gets on the field, the more time um, in the weight room and everything like that, he's just going to keep coming along. And like I said, this has been proclaimed tight end you for some time here. Um, with all the guys that we've had, like Zach Ertz and everyone like that. So those guys definitely carry on that tradition really well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely looking forward to this. I'll make my way out to the dome early, and hopefully you and I can at least shake hands and see each other face to face before this thing gets hopping. The battle for the Block S is this Friday night, September 20th, in the dome. Corey Edsall returning to the dome. Justin Lamson returning to the dome. 7:30 p.m. kickoff in the dome. We look forward to seeing you all there, and a safe travels to you at Stanford as always. So Corey, thank you for your time. Thank you for getting up and doing this with me. And I know you got a lot of things to get to today and a lot of preparation to be had, but you always find time for me. So I want to tell you I appreciate that. And I really do look forward to shaking your hand because I got a lot of respect for you, and I look forward to being able to see you in person. So hopefully we can have a couple minutes with that before the game kicks off.
Definitely sounds good. Appreciate you, Dan.
All right, man. Be well and have a good day.
All right, you too.
Take care. Coming from Corey Edsall one more time, the Offensive Quality Control Analyst on the staff of the Stanford Cardinal and a former Syracuse quarterback who was playing under Doug Marrone. So was a member of the Syracuse Orange at the quarterback position. Justin Lamson, who's on Stanford, was a member of the Syracuse Orange at the quarterback position. They both return to Syracuse. Justin Lamson hasn't been back since he left a couple of years ago. And as you heard from Corey Edsall, he did come back as a member of the Maryland Terrapins and the UConn Huskies. This will be his third time back since playing for Syracuse. So a lot of great stuff going on. The battle for the Block S is coming up this Friday, September 20th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You know your boy is going to be up on the hill, and I can't wait. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break, and we're going to get ready for fantasy football right after this. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thanks for hanging with us. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean-to-cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life. That's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. As you know, it is Wednesday, so that means that our Fantasy Football Power Hour is going to break this show up into 2 parts so that people can get to our fantasy football coverage easy and efficiently all over the country and the world. So for those of you that are watching and listening on Wake Up Call here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, we're going to be right back on here. For those of you listening on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, we'll be back there as well. So we're going to end this video, end this audio stream, start a new one for fantasy football. So for those of you that are with us, give us a moment. We'll jump right over into the next one right after this here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets